good team win. Good to come down here. I think it's important to try and win these games. So I thought it was a nice job getting the win. I thought defensively we played really well. Ended up with 3 takeaways. Obviously the one for a score there by MJ, which was great. But they were ball searching, got the ball out in that fumble. Herb had an interception late, 5 sacks. So I thought the guys really were playing hard and playing within the scheme. Obviously sloppy just overall. 11 penalties for 139 yards is not good, and that's going to get you beat in a lot of football games. Early, couldn't get in a rhythm on offense, had a couple drops, had 10 men on the field and special teams twice. So it looked like preseason game to me, preseason game number 1 game to me at a bunch of moments. So there's a ton to clean up, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to get back to work and work on the things that we fell short at tonight, and then just make sure we keep progressing, because this is really part of the progression, part of the training is that game number 1. So that's in the books now, and then we'll turn our sights to the next phase of training camp. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Kevin, how do you think Deshaun did assess his performance in his first live action game?
Yeah, I think he probably wants some throws back. Obviously playing football for the first time in a while, I thought it was important for him to get out there with his teammates in this scheme, just hearing a different voice in the helmet, those type of things. So I'm sure he had the butterflies and the jitters early, but I think he understands there's work to do.
When did you feel comfortable you were going to actually be able to start him tonight?
Yeah, it's just been something, Chris, that we've been talking about really throughout the last months and weeks, just trying to figure out what the best path forward was for not just our quarterbacks, but for the entire team. And just thought getting him some time out there in a game setting made sense in this preseason.
Kevin, do you think the drama of his case affected his play, the uncertainty?
I don't think so, Tony. I don't.
What about the fact that he didn't have 5 of his Pro Bowlers on offense out there when David Bell wasn't out there, most of the starters?
Yeah, I don't think so, Mary Kay. I think we just have to be better as an offense early. They had a bunch of players that they don't play either, so I don't look too much into that. It's just, that's our first game out there, and I think you could tell. I think Jacksonville had 1 game into it, so for us just to knock some rust off and then get back to work.
Nick Harris, what do you know about
Yeah, knee injury, Tony. We'll get an MRI tomorrow, and I'll be able to update you tomorrow.
Kevin, when you decided that Deshaun was going to play, did you also decide then that Jacoby wouldn't? Can you just talk about the correlation between those?
Yeah, just Jacoby's starting week 1, so that's how we're operating. We'll get him work in game 3, but felt like it was the right thing to get Deshaun in game 1.
Will Jacoby get more this coming week in practice?
Yes.
Deshaun has looked pretty sharp in practice, so were you kind of surprised that people were bragging on him?
No, Mary Kay. I think again, I think this was important for him to get out there in a game setting under the lights with new teammates and go operate. And it wasn't going to be perfect, and even if it was perfect, you can't overreact to that either. So I just think it was all part of the progression for him.
And in terms of beforehand, he came out and issued basically his first apology that we've heard from him. So what does that tell you about the situation?
Yeah, I've been around Deshaun now for a few months, and I know he wants to grow. I know that he does, and that's personally, that's professionally, and I think he's very, very serious about doing that. And I think that's part of that next step for him.
And do you think that he'll play in future preseason games if he's permitted to?
Yeah, we'll see when we get there. Not ready to say just yet.
What about Jerome Ford? What did you think of him?
Yeah, I thought, Tony, he's really, I'd say the rookies in general, I was pretty pleased with them. With MJ making that play, Cade was good tonight. And then Jerome on that had a couple great runs and then lost the ball, unfortunately, there in that play. But up until that moment, he made a great catch. He's fighting for extra yards. It's just a young player has to know when they're coming for that rock, especially as you're fighting for extra yards. But I would tell you, Tony, that what I saw in that game was very consistent with what I've seen at practice.
Is that first pass of Deshaun's, was that going to Anthony?
It was going to Anthony. Yeah.
And did he just seem like maybe he was a little too hyped up?
I don't know. I think for all these guys, we're depending where you are in your career, these rookies are got the butterflies. Some of these veterans that are playing in it, and then Deshaun having not played in 20 weeks, I do think there's an element of call it, jitters or whatever it is. So I think it was important for him to get out there. He calmed down, calling plays in and out of the huddle, getting the guys directed, even going down and sitting on the bench and having communication with the coaches. All of that is, in my opinion, part of the process in bringing him along.
Do you lament the fact, though, that if this is going to be the last time he sees live action until he has to play in the game, the fact that he didn't get to sustain a drive and,
I really don't, Mary Kay. And I would tell you, if it went the other way and they went right down the field and scored, again, it's all part of the process. These games, they're keeping score, so they're important. We want to win them, but it's like taking the practice field to the game field is how we approach it.
What about Dobbs? What did you think of him?
Yeah, I thought Josh did a really nice job there with that group. Again, he's operating. I think he does a nice job in and out of the huddle, sees it very clearly, and I think his athleticism really showed up. Certainly had a couple scrambles, had that touchdown where he had a free runner right in his face, going to his left, extended the play, and dumped it over to Jerome. So an impressive performance by Josh.
how about Nick has been having such a nice camp, and you guys have been so excited about him, how hard he's seeing.
Yeah, really, really disappointing. I think the MRI will tell the story there, but you don't want to. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt on either side of the ball, for the opponent or yourself. It's just it's the nature of this game, and nobody likes it. But we're hoping that we get good news with an MRI. But we're still excited about Nick.
When Ethan slid over there and then took his spot, just assess the way he did.
I'd have to look at it to give you a real good answer to that, but he's a veteran that's played a lot of football, so he has a good understanding of what we're trying to get done, being that he got here in the spring, but he's a very smart kid.
Kevin, was there any point this week since you've been in Jacksonville that you didn't think you'd be allowed to play Watson?
No, not for me. But I was. I just wait for somebody to tell me something different, Tony, and I just kind of operate with the information I have.
Did Deshaun say anything to you after his 3 series about, how he wish it would have gone differently?
No. Yeah. Again, I think all of us at every position would love to come out and put up 100 and hold them to 0. But this is, again, all part of the process for us. We're making mistakes, it's sloppy, and now it's my job and our job to get it cleaned up.